3, 4.
We were using about half the available bandwidth of the internet. Half the total bandwidth of the internet was just us doing really, really bad songs. And it's because the internet had not been bumped up to do anything with audio or video at the time. Internet was for email, was for text.
We set up in the basement of this Digital Equipment Corporation's research lab.
1 block away, Google was founded. That beer company was also on the corner there. I think Facebook or somebody started out in the same thing where the beer guys were.
All
Sam
the good
Adams.
stuff. Facebook, beer, and severe tire damage. I mean,
Google.
perfect. Couldn't ask for more. You mean we actually were concerned about copyright violations?
I was at the time.
I remember this, actually. Copyright violations, as we started putting our stuff on the internet, there was question of, can we be doing cover songs and not get in trouble? Can we be selling our CDs with cover songs and not get in trouble? But I do recall that you ended up doing email to Sony or somebody saying, hey, we're doing this thing on the internet and we want to check to see if there's any rights or something that you guys want to lock down or something for us to sign, or 15 cents per cover song. And the response from them was, what? Internet? Music? Don't worry about it. It's not an issue. So.
I think what we did was a kind of piracy, like in the early days of people flying airplanes where you land in someone's farmer's field because you had no place else to go. And it was okay because there weren't very many airplanes around. There aren't very many people now who can use the internet in this way. And so anything goes for now because we're still explorers exploring brand new space, and there's very, very few of us.
If he were around to talk about stuff, he'd probably be pissed off that everybody's talking about ubiquitous computing and he's not getting credit for it anymore. It's the Internet of Things.
But that's why he died, so that he could get credit for it.
Ah.
You see, because
it's the
now,
Jimi Hendrix thing.
Yeah, basically. I mean, he's known as the father of ubiquitous computing, and I think he had to die in order to cement that reputation. We would play local parties, and there would be all sorts of famous people. Anita Borg, who's known now for being or for having an entire women's institute named after her. Anita Borg threw parties and invited Severe Tire Damage to play at her house. We would trash her house, and she loved it.
The thing I found surprising throughout the whole Severe Tire Damage thing is how, not shallow, but how small the gene pool is in all the stuff that happened in the internet right in that era. Everybody was hooked up with either Apple Research, DEC, Xerox PARC, or Sun, and basically the party pool probably defines the start of internet searching. Alta Vista would have been party people. Anita Borg, Mark Weiser, Ubiquitous Computing.
The stuff I was doing in factoring, which was early mesh type stuff.
Yeah, so amazingly small group of people.
This was July 1993 when we first broadcast on the internet. About a year and a half later, in November of 1994, the Rolling Stones decided that part of their Voodoo Lounge tour would be broadcast on the internet. They said, we will be the first band on the internet. Everyone said, well, they said, sorry, Severe Tire Damage was the first band on the internet. They said, well, fine, then we'll be the first major band on the internet, which they had us at that. And that's when we decided to be their opening act, because there were no locks, there were no channels that you could access. It was just the MBONE. You just multicast. So a half hour before the Stones performance, we went online, and this time, instead of some random Australian researcher, there was an entire world press machine watching.
It turns out most of the stories included more about us than about the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones were just sort of a footnote in, And during the Rolling Stones concert, this other band came in and
That's the warm-up act. We did 20 minutes of songs. We said, thanks very much, the Stones will be right
you.
up.
Good night.
Cut the connection. We even announced ourselves as, the first virtual concert ever, because they were down in Texas and there we were in California. And all of the reports from British Sky TV, Newsweek, Wall Street Journal, Boston Globe all covered this. Newsweek referred to severe tire damage as a less well-known band than the Rolling Stones.
We'll take that. The interesting thing about the Stones versus us is the Stones people, the company that was doing it for the Rolling Stones, had decided that this would be a great way for them to make money, a great way to leverage technology and put stuff on the internet, but they hadn't really done it very much before. And we had, basically the people who invented it, and we had very good tech guys, so technically our broadcast worked better. It had less dropouts. The Stones thing, the audio was clipping all the time. They tried to increase the bandwidth to get a bigger picture, but there's not enough bandwidth to do it, so you end up having lots of dropouts and stuff. So our transmission was technically much better than the Stones, and a lot of people were saying that too. So you got to remember too that this was 152 by 76 pixels or something, incredibly small screen, updated maybe 8 to 12 times a second. The audio at best was a bad telephone connection.